coming to dinner.
Qualified, I
To
didn't
be there.
say again.
To be there.
Yes, I felt I was more than qualified to earn an appointment to Annapolis. I was a football player.
Mm-hmm.
Most students that I associated with in my company, I felt like I was just as smart as they were, maybe even smarter.
Mm-hmm.
So I never had a feeling they were looking down on me. And
Okay.
that's basically as a result of growing up in Louisville and living in Fort Knox, then Valley Station. So it
And
wasn't.
Beach Terrace. So that meant that you could whoop some butt if you had to.
I just never felt that I was out of place. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay.
So and I always said that my time at the Naval Academy was almost like a racial nirvana. It was good, positive. Basically, as long as you did the work at Annapolis, then you got to pass. I mean,
Okay.
if you weren't willing to do the work, then eventually they would kick you out. But
Okay.
I felt like I was able to do the work and playing football. And then now going into the Marine Corps was different though. All right, so that's where the difference is. I think.
Okay.
The history of the Marine Corps, which I teach. The racial history, is that the Marine Corps was very very reluctant to accept Black Marines, as your stepfather could attest.
And when you said you were the first Black from Kentucky to go to the Naval Academy,
Right.
JT, my stepfather,
Mm-hmm.
was one of the first to go to the Marines from Kentucky.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
I can believe that because
He actually could not sign up in Kentucky. He had to go to Cincinnati.
yeah, I can believe it. So Marine Corps, but the history of the Marine Corps just said that, and the customs in the Marine Corps, it took them much longer to integrate than the other services. And I don't think I experienced bias and discrimination in the Marine Corps until I was much more senior, as probably lieutenant colonel and colonel. There were things that I couldn't put my finger on.
Right.
That didn't make sense. And of course, I published my book,
Okay, let's talk about the book.
well, the book is, there it is,
Okay, Camp Lejeune. Okay. All right, because Camp Lejeune, that's where the Mumford Point Marines train, correct?
That's right. So I published this book in 2015, and it's just a journal. But you can't write a memoir, to be honest with you, as a Black serviceman without mentioning race at some point. You just can't. And so those are things I mentioned in my book. But it's not a book about, racism in the
racism per se. Okay.
Right. It's a book about a Black lieutenant colonel with a family, a military family, that is from Mom and VT and Pam and Larry and Rodney and Keith.
See, I didn't know Rodney was in the military.
Well, here's the thing. Let's just take a step back, all right? And here it is. You got Virgil Thomas, all right?
Okay.
He's Korea and 2 tours in Vietnam, soldier. Our mother was a civilian nurse at Ireland Army Hospital in Fort Knox, so she was, doing a lot of military type thing. Pamela joined the Air Force the year I graduated from the Naval Academy, and she served 22 years in Air Force.
Wow. And
she retired and lived, came back to Louisville, and then she passed away in 2007. Right? Yes. She has a son, Sean, who's retired senior master sergeant in the Air Force, lives in El Paso. And then Larry was drafted in 1967, so he went to Vietnam.
Okay.
Right.
So Larry and VT went to Vietnam.
No, yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did. Then Rodney, when he graduated from Eastern, he was in ROTC. All right. and he came into the Army as a lieutenant, left as a captain. I think Rodney served 6 years in the Army. Okay, so and then there was me, and then like I said, Keith is pseudo military. You know, he's like a commander in chief of everybody.
Well, he runs a pretty tight ship down here in Louisville, Kentucky.
He does.
Yeah, I mean, Keith and I got a lot closer when he was kind of doing the caregiving things with Miss Fran.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was doing the caregiving with Miss Emily.
Right.
So it's something about when family say you're my kin folks, not necessarily and my skin folks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That it was just very easy for me to offer what I knew, because caregiving is not for the faint of heart.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, and Keith and I used to swap stories, you know, because I know Miss Francis was running him around the corner, and Miss Emily would have me on my knees, you know, in tears. And I think I'm tough.
Yeah.
But Miss Emily would have me on my knees because she wanted to know who
But
died
you
and
was
made me
holding
the
it down.
president.
You was holding it down. You was holding it down. You was holding it down.
As best as we could.
Yeah.
You know, because they held it down for us. Look who we've become. Look how proud your mom had to be of all of her sons. You know, all of you. I mean, my cute dogs. I'm your whoop whoop Delta sister. You didn't know that, did you, Keith? Huh?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I said, did you know I was a Delta? He didn't hear me.
What about the Deltas?
I said, did you know I was a Delta?
Did I know you was a Delta? Yeah, I knew. You told me.
Oh. Oh, did I? I want to make that connection there too. So moving on.
Yeah, you
but
told me. Yeah.
the Dunn family and my family, I saw the other day on Facebook that Larry had. How many of you have have had a friend for 50 years? And I wrote on it, or more.
Yes,
like
right.
You. You know. So our families have a very deep connection. So how do you feel, Keith? Tell me your take on. We're going to move towards a little bit of the racist, the what's going in Louisville, since you're here. How do you feel about the protest? Are we making some moves? I know we just won a gigantic war the other day, but I think we still have some battles to go. I don't know if I can even call it the war, but I know we have some battles to go in the healing process of our country, and we need to find some solutions to keep, so that our Black men and women are not just their lives are not just snuffed out because of the color of their skin. We've got to get past that some kind of way. But we can't get past it until we have what the show Guess Who's Coming to Dinner is supposed to do, until we address that. It has to be addressed. We cannot just say, well, I really don't, people used to say, well, I don't talk about religion or politics. Well, we're not going to talk about religion, and we don't have to talk about politics. Let's talk about race. Just be real about it, because we have a problem, and it just didn't start. It just has bubbled over. Anytime the television shows you Black men and women dying on TV, we've got to move from that.
It's not a sprint.
I did ask you a question.
This is not a
Keith.
sprint. This is not a sprint. This is not a sprint.
No.
This isn't a sprint.
It's not a sprint.
It's not a sprint. This is not
Turn
a
your
sprint.
mic up some. I can't hear you too well.
Okay, it's a long distance journey, and it's not a sprint. It's just part of it right now, and it's step by step, and obviously some injustices have been prevailed, have been shown, and then therefore these young folks ain't taking it. They ain't taking this stuff no more,
No.
And but we still have to. It's like a wild horse, though. You still gotta keep your reins on it to make sure that they know which way to go, which way to go on the track. You know what I mean? So that's all it is. It's just not a sprint. This is a journey, and it's one step at a time. That's the way I feel about it.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Well, it
That
sure is a journey. Well, I was just able to exhale. I felt like, that all the air had been almost sucked out of the universe from not knowing from one day to the next what was happening to my people, what was happening to the rights that we fought for back in the 60s, and that we're still fighting though for those same rights today, because some of them have been rolled back. So hello, Louisville. Guess who's coming to dinner?